I want to speak on something right quick. I ain't siding with GloRilla, I ain't siding with BroRilla. But I do want to say,
Boosie really thought he was doing something when he stepped in to defend GloRilla and her family situation, acting like he was just sharing his opinion about artist money and family expectations. But the way GloRilla's sister came at him on live, she flipped the whole conversation and put his name in a blender. She didn't just respond, she straight up called him washed up, joked about him doing low-budget Tubi movies, and clowned him for dressing like a teenager while pushing 60. What started as simple family drama turned into an all-out digital feud, and the way she spoke on Boosie is something the streets are not forgetting anytime soon.
Y'all just, I'm saying though, y'all want the clout to die. Y'all gotta stop talking about me for it to die.
Now here's where everything really started, because this whole story goes way deeper than what people saw on social media. To understand the mess, you gotta go back to early February 2026, when GloRilla was sitting at the top of the world. Grammy nominations, chart-climbing hits, big stages, and a come-up story everybody loved. She built her brand off talking about growing up in Memphis, the poverty, the sacrifices, and how she fought her way out of it all. But on February 4th, 2026, that polished image cracked when her own family stepped forward and aired everything out for the world to see.
You think you finna catch Lil Durk on Love and Hip Hop? You think you finna catch Chris Brown on there? You think you even finna catch Fantasia on that motherfucker?
Her sister, Victoria Woods, known online as Scarface, hopped on Facebook Live, ready to expose her famous sister for allegedly walking away from the family. She didn't hold anything back. This wasn't indirect shade or a slick caption. She called GloRilla by her government name, Gloria, and laid out accusations that instantly had the internet dividing into camps. And Scarface wasn't coming with basic complaints either. She went for the deepest cuts, saying that while GloRilla publicly talks about their childhood struggles, uses their past in interviews, and turns the family story into part of her music brand, she hasn't actually been supporting the people closest to her. According to Scarface, their mother is still working at FedEx, doing heavy labor in a warehouse, while her daughter racks up million-dollar checks and lives comfortably. Just think about that for a moment. Your sister is performing at major shows, collecting endorsements, making industry money, and yet your mom is still waking up early for a warehouse shift at FedEx. That contrast alone is what made Scarface's claims hit the internet so hard, because people weren't expecting the family behind a superstar to still be struggling on that level. That kind of contradiction makes folks start questioning everything, and this is where things flipped into straight controversy real fast. Scarface decided she wasn't holding anything back. She claimed GloRilla bought their father a Jaguar just to look good online, even though, in her words, he's broke and living in a spot crawling with roaches. That image alone had people sitting still for a moment, because she was basically saying Glo was playing superstar for the camera, while the reality at home wasn't matching the flex. She painted it like Glo was out here performing generosity, instead of actually helping, making big moves for show, but leaving the real problems untouched. Then Scarface took it even deeper, hitting a nerve that felt personal, not just petty. She repeated her words with her voice cracking from frustration, saying, "So I say again, Gloria, for you to know how we struggle, for you to know how we got neglected, for you to know how we got mistreated, and for you not to reach back and do shit for not one of us." Anyone listening could hear how hurt she was, because this wasn't about clout. It was about someone feeling like their own blood turned their back after making it out. She kept going, saying it's been 4 years, and their brother is still out here doing DoorDash, trying to survive while she watches her sister shine on stages and collect serious checks. 4 years of struggle hits different when your sibling is getting 6-figure performance fees and you're still grinding just to keep up with bills. It wasn't the job itself that bothered her. It was the gap between lifestyles, like they were living in two different worlds that used to be one. But then Scarface brought up something that shook the whole situation even harder. She said, "You don't even do shit for our autistic brother. I know he didn't do shit to you. We got an autistic brother. You don't even do shit for him." Once she said that, the internet locked in, because people get emotional when it comes to family members who need extra support. The idea that GloRilla might not be helping a sibling with special needs hit the timeline like wildfire, because that kind of claim can change how the public sees somebody overnight. After that, everyone started choosing sides. Some folks said they understood exactly what Scarface meant, wondering how someone making millions could have relatives still struggling that hard. It turned into more than a family argument. It became a conversation about loyalty, responsibility, and what fame does to people once they finally make it. People started asking real questions like, why is mama still clocking in at a regular job? And why are the brothers out here doing DoorDash while their sister is a global name? But other folks were like, hold on, none of us actually know what goes on behind closed doors. Family situations get messy, and nobody outside the house can truly judge. Maybe GloRilla offered help and it was turned down. Maybe she's supporting people in ways the internet never sees. Maybe there's old family tension that never got resolved. Still, GloRilla was not letting that talk run wild. Later that same day, only hours after Scarface went live, she fired back, and she didn't do it with a long speech or a teary video. She came with straight receipts, and in the digital era, receipts hit harder than any explanation. She posted a screenshot that looked like a message from her mother, and that's when the situation took a sharp turn. The message from Mama Woods thanked GloRilla for her steady support and said she already does plenty for the family. Basically, Mama was shutting down Scarface's whole narrative from earlier. Now you had one daughter calling out her sister for not helping and their mother publicly siding with the superstar daughter. That kind of divide can lock itself into a family for years because once people choose sides, it's hard to walk that back. The message made it clear that GloRilla hasn't been ignoring her people, that she's been doing what she can, and that maybe she doesn't broadcast it because real support doesn't require an audience. But this opened a new box of confusion. Some doubted Scarface, saying maybe she exaggerated the story. Others wondered if Mama protected GloRilla because of the pressure and attention. And then there were people who felt each woman simply had a different idea of what enough support looks like. Then the situation got even colder. The next day, February 5th, GloRilla posted a link to Indeed.com on Facebook. Anybody familiar with that site knew exactly what she meant. Indeed is for job searches, so her dropping that link without any caption basically translated to telling her sister to find work and stop complaining. It was one of those silent jabs that lands harder than a paragraph. After that, she reshared a post from her older cousin Lena Harris, who had her back fully. Lena put out screenshots showing text messages where GloRilla regularly checked up on the family, asked about how everyone was doing, and offered money when specific needs came up. The messages showed someone trying to stay connected even while juggling a busy career. At this point, you had cousins, siblings, and outsiders all speaking on the situation, and the internet turned into a giant debate room. Everyone was trying to figure out who was being honest and who was letting jealousy or frustration talk for them. That's when people started looking at how this situation snowballed, and somehow Boosie ended up getting pulled into the mix. On his own platform, he decided to jump in and give his take, and that move lit up the timeline all over again. Boosie has a reputation for jumping into every conversation in hip-hop, so him speaking on this situation shocked nobody. He has commented on Lil Nas X, Zaya Wade, R. Kelly, and any other topic that stirs the culture. Sharing his opinion is what he does, but the way he stepped into the GloRilla situation is what set the whole internet vibrating, because his attempt to sound neutral only made the tension hit harder. He started off saying, "I ain't siding with GloRilla. I ain't siding with her sister, but I do want to say something but is important, fam. Everybody knows that anytime someone starts with 'I'm not taking sides,' but they are definitely about to choose a side." Then he shifted into talking about the reality of artist money, something fans rarely understand beyond what they see online. Boosie explained that people think rappers have way more money than they really do. The gap between perception and reality in hip-hop wealth is wild. He said, "Every artist who got 50 million ain't got 50 million. Every artist you think got 100 million ain't got 100 million. And he was telling the truth about that. Folks hear that an artist signed a $10 million deal and start imagining a $10 million bank account, when in reality that money gets chopped up fast. He broke it down in a way that made even casual listeners freeze for a second. That bag gets sliced between the label, managers, lawyers, producers, and then taxes strip off another heavy chunk. After that, you still gotta pay for security, travel, styling, housing, and all the lifestyle costs that come with being famous. Money evaporates way quicker than fans think. Then Boosie hit them with simple math that made the conversation shift. He said, "You gotta understand that like if we get everybody, we gonna be broke. If I get everybody, I'm gonna be broke. Now if I got $1 million, I got 7 brothers and sisters, and a mom and dad. I give each y'all 100,000. I'm broke." Even though he said it casually, the point landed. Supporting an entire family with one person's income, no matter how big it looks from the outside, can drain you dry. He pushed the message further, saying, "If I really look out like you want me to look out, it's gone." In other words, the expectations people place on artists can be unrealistic. On the surface, Boosie was explaining something important about fame. The idea that if you make it big, you're supposed to financially carry every relative, every friend, and every person who knew you before success is a heavy burden. No matter how much money you bring in, spreading it too thin can collapse your whole foundation. He made the argument that GloRilla might not have the kind of resources people assume she does. Just because she is visible, touring, and collecting checks does not mean she can fund an entire extended family without stressing her own situation. But then Boosie added another layer saying, "But we do gotta look out too. But you know what I'm saying? We get everybody. We gonna be broke." So he wasn't saying artists should turn their backs on family. He was saying there are real limits to what they can do before the pressure becomes impossible to manage. He walked a tight line between defending GloRilla's side of the story and acknowledging Scarface's frustration. And that is what made his take hit the timeline so fast. It was messy, but it was the kind of messy that makes everybody talk. But here's the part nobody expected. Scarface, GloRilla's sister, saw that Boosie video, and she did not treat it like neutral commentary. To her, Boosie wasn't breaking down industry money. He was defending GloRilla, and she wanted the whole world to know she felt disrespected. She wasn't about to let a rapper from Louisiana decide what her sister can or can't afford to do for her own family. So she went live again, and what she said next caught everybody off guard. This wasn't a simple clapback. This was her drawing a line in the sand. She opened with, "Y'all want the clout to die. Y'all gotta stop talking about me for it to die." She was already heated, and the point she made was real. People kept calling her a clout chaser, but those same folks couldn't stop mentioning her name, which only pushed her into more conversations. But Scarface wasn't firing shots into the air. She had specific people in her sights, and Boosie was sitting right at the front of that list. First, she turned her attention to Charlemagne the God and the Breakfast Club, calling them out for covering her sister's response but ignoring the receipts she posted. She said, "Y'all going to put the video with her, putting them in there. But I ain't put my receipts on there, and y'all got a big platform, so hell yeah. I got a problem with y'all. Why the fuck y'all ain't got no breakfast up there? It's called the Breakfast Club." She was accusing the media of telling a one-sided story, and she didn't hold back. In her eyes, they pushed GloRilla's version but downplayed hers, and that is how public narratives get shaped before people even realize it. Then she pivoted straight to Boosie, and that's when everything got even louder. She said, "And you got Boosie raccoon-eyed ass. Talking about I'm not on nobody's side, but I'm just saying you are taking sides. 'Cause basically, you saying she ain't got no money, so she ain't trying to give us nothing. You justifying her." Scarface was calling him out for pretending to stay neutral, while in her view, defending GloRilla's lack of support. She felt like he was making excuses for her sister, instead of acknowledging the pain and frustration she expressed. To Scarface, the numbers didn't matter. Whether GloRilla had 100 million or 1 million, she believed her sister should be doing more for the family. And she made that clear when she said, "I don't give a fuck what y'all think about Boosie. I don't care about his fan base. I don't care about none of that. This nigga owned 2 movies, so guess what? He fell off." Even though the words were harsh, the message was simple. She was saying Boosie wasn't the star he once was, and because he had movies on Tubi instead of a major platform, she felt that meant he wasn't in a position to be judging her situation. Her comments didn't just challenge Boosie's opinion, they challenged his relevance. She was basically telling him that if his projects weren't hitting the mainstream, his advice didn't hold weight in her eyes. It was a bold move calling out a veteran artist and dismissing his status like that, and it flipped the whole conversation again. Scarface had made it clear she wasn't backing down from anyone, not family, not platforms, and definitely not Boosie. But she wasn't finished. She came right back and said, "It's always the old raccoon-type fade that wants to come for me." And the way she said it showed she had been sitting on that anger for a minute. She added, "I don't care about who F with him." And from the tone, you could tell she was fully ready to let everything out that she had kept quiet about before. Then she dropped another line that cut deep. "You gave F, you are straddling the fence. And then I really don't like you anyway." Then she said the part that made people sit still for a second. "Boosie, 'cause you know why you don't like Gabe. You don't like Gabe Lil Nas X." That's when the whole situation shifted from family business to cultural tension. She brought up Boosie's long history of comments about Lil Nas X and his sexuality, and the way he's been criticized for disrespecting the LGBTQ community. She didn't let up either. She called him out for coming at Lil Nas X while promoting violent and reckless themes in his own music. She said, "You're always talking about a gay guy. If you're talking about NASX promoting gayness, but you promote guns, substances, and you a hypocrite. Be 100 around the board." When that clip hit the internet, people reacted instantly because she wasn't just talking about Boosie anymore. She was talking about the culture, the contradictions, the double standards, the stuff fans argue about all the time. She kept pressing the issue too. Like I said before, he promotes guns, weed, girls, all types of stuff. But then when somebody gay comes along, oh no, the kids don't need to see that. The boy sounds like a stupid hypocrite. She was pointing out something a lot of people already noticed. Artists can rap about violence, illegal activity, and disrespecting women without getting that much pushback. But when it comes to LGBTQ artists being visible, suddenly it becomes a conversation about protecting children. That inconsistency is real, and she was not letting it slide. People online started breaking down how deep this situation really ran. Scarface made it clear she didn't like Boosie long before he spoke on her family. She said, "Ever since he did that with Nas X towards the gay community, every time about something gay, he got something to say. I did not like him." She even admitted that Boosie didn't say anything outrageous about the GloRilla situation itself. The issue was that she already had a problem with him, and once he chimed in on her family, she wasn't giving him any grace at all. She explained it in her own words. "He didn't go on there bashing me, but see, I already got disliking for you." So even though his comments weren't directly attacking her, the built-up frustration mixed with old resentment made her come at him full force. At that point, this wasn't even about who was right in the family argument anymore. This was personal history meeting public drama, and Scarface was done being quiet about any of it. So now the situation reached a point where nobody could even sneeze near it without getting pulled in. And the way she moved made one thing clear. This was real street politics. She wasn't reacting just because of the GloRilla drama. She was using that moment as a doorway to go at someone she already had tension with. That kind of move is intentional, and it shows how internet conflicts work. The main topic becomes a cover for older issues that never got handled. Then she started clowning his age and style. She said, "You are almost 60 years old and you still dressing like you F15. She was poking at the idea that older rappers sometimes dress younger to look current. Boosie is in his 40s, not 60. But her point was that he was too old to be critiquing her situation from the outside. And then she twisted the knife again. She said, "Why the F he on Tubi movies now? Why the F he on Tubi movies? This ain't on Paramount." In her eyes, being on Tubi instead of a major network meant his career wasn't hitting the same. It was her way of saying he had fallen off and was only staying visible by jumping into other people's business. The conversation online got even louder, and as folks kept digging deeper, the story took on its own momentum. Scarface's response blew the internet wide open. Suddenly, social media had two camps. Team GloRilla said Scarface was being ungrateful and trying to get attention by exposing private family issues. They pointed to the receipts GloRilla posted and said she clearly had been helping. Team Scarface said GloRilla should be doing more and that going public was the only way to get her attention since private conversations weren't changing anything. The Breakfast Club and other media outlets jumped in and started covering the drama between Scarface and Boosie, which she said she didn't want. But at the same time, she knew coverage was coming. She even called out how ridiculous it was. Y'all want the clout to die, stop mentioning me. But the media feeds on conflict, so the story kept getting pushed. Scarface also addressed people accusing her of getting bookings because of the beef. She responded, "If you called me and asked, I'm not calling folks. Hey man, let me get booked." She was saying she wasn't out here begging for opportunities or chasing attention. If someone reached out, that was on them. She claimed she wasn't using the drama for personal gain, even if the public thought otherwise. At this point, it wasn't just about her and GloRilla anymore. It was about family loyalty, public perception, old grudges, and who had the right to speak on what. And the more she talked, the more the internet kept spinning the story in new directions. She said, "They calling me. They in my inbox," making it clear the opportunities were coming to her, not the other way around. In her mind, if someone reached out with money, she had no reason to turn it down. She wasn't trying to impress anybody, and she wasn't trying to soften her energy, but stepping back from the chaos. There's a deeper layer here that connects to patterns in hip-hop and the culture at large. This whole situation ties into a question that has been debated for generations. When someone makes it out, how much responsibility do they carry toward the family they left behind? For some, the belief is that when you rise, you bring your people with you. That idea is woven into community history. But there is another side, where constant financial support can stop someone from building their own drive or independence. It creates tension that money alone can't solve. Another piece of this puzzle is the media. Platforms have been eating this story up, pushing every update, every reaction, every clapback. The clicks go up while the family's damage gets deeper. Once a private situation goes public, there's no turning it back into something quiet. The drama becomes content, and the people living in it become characters whether they want to or not. And then there's the moral conversation Scarface sparked. When she called out Boosie for criticizing LGBTQ representation while promoting violence and reckless behavior in his own music, she touched on something people have been noticing for years. There is a selective morality in hip-hop, where certain things get judged harshly while others get brushed off. That contradiction hit the internet hard because it exposed how uneven the standards really are. This story isn't wrapped up. Boosie could respond again. Other artists might jump in. More family issues could spill into the open. But one thing is certain, everything that happened here showed how fame, loyalty, money, and cultural values collide in ways that make everybody uncomfortable. It revealed pressure points people usually try to hide, and once they were exposed, the discussion shifted from just family drama to something much bigger. So talk to me. Who do you think is right in this situation? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, share the video, and I'll see you on the next one.